Hello guys, welcome in. Today we're going to be doing a basic introduction to an aggressive Infernal build. We won't be going into extreme depths, but just a basic starting point for some of the new players. This build you can use versus any race with slight variations depending on how your opponent is reacting and what units they decide to make. This is an aggressive build. What this means is that we're going to try to either A, end the game with our push, or B, deny our opponent from taking a third and not allow them to expand. Basically contain them until we are able to take the win. Okay, let's begin. I've loaded up a game against a Vanguard AI to demonstrate. At the start of the game, we will build 2 workers. We only have a charge for 1, so we're going to start with 1 worker, wait for the charge, and build a second one. We will also have around 100 Luminite at this time, that we can build an Iron Vault with it. Notice how I also built an effigy. An effigy will allow Infernal structures to be built 50% faster. We will build a second effigy in a moment to ensure that we have shroud coverage at our expansion. Now we will just continue to make workers until we get to about 280. At 280 Luminite, we're going to pull 2 workers. One, we're going to use to take our expansion, and the second to make a tribute pyre. The expansion will increase our supply count, but because we want Iron Vault first for aggression, we will need to build a tribute pyre for supply. Now once the tribute pyre is finished, you're also going to have an available charge for your brute completed around this time, so you should be able to make a brute. We can split this brute right away, and we can use this set of feeds for scouting and or aggression. We will continue to make workers. Never stop making workers. Whenever you have a charge available for an imp, make it. With the next 100 Luminite, we will immediately make a conclave. Now, at this point, you should have 9 workers on Luminite, and it's time to start gathering Therium. So we're going to change the worker waypoint to Therium. Now these fiends, we sent them in for scouting, but they also can be used aggressively. Try not to lose them though. You can pick off some workers, especially target the ones that are building because you can slow down the construction this way. Lancers are really strong versus fiends, so unless you have like 4 fiends to get a complete surround, I would just avoid the Lancer. Now you should be continuing to make imps, even during scouting. Remember to get used to the quick menu. It makes it really easy. Just press W and A and you just made a worker. Easy peasy. Now that our expansion is finished, and we have a worker or 2 on it, we want to build another production structure, preferably an Iron Vault. Brutes are very tanky, and they can tank a lot of damage during a push, and they're very effective versus other tier 1 units such as Lancers that Vanguard has. We also want to, at this time, make sure we aren't putting more than 2 to 3 workers on Therium. So if your waypoint is still set to Therium, make sure you set it back to Luminite once you have about 2 or 3 on it. And keep making as many workers as you can. Ideally, you want to be about 12 workers on Luminite in the main and about 3 or 4 on your expansion's Luminite around the time the first Stormgate goes off. Another thing to keep in mind is once your charges are maxed out, for example, this Iron Vault, the Brute is maxed out at 2. You will waste the possibility of more units by not making them. So when you see that you are at max 2 charges, make the unit so as time progresses, you will have the capabilities of making as many units as the game allows. Don't waste them by letting them sit there at 2. Now at this time, we're looking at the first Stormgate going off. So we want to make as many units as we possibly can and waypoint them to the Stormgate. Now don't forget, we only have supply up to 35 right now, so we're going to want to add another tribute pyre for supply sometime during this first Stormgate fight. I like to build one outside of the Stormgate area so that the shroud can be spread for the fight. Now, the main take from this build is your goal is to overwhelm your opponent at the first Stormgate and get the Stormgate and further snowball with either the Farron or the Creeping Horror. You want to pick either one of those. They usually are an option at the first Stormgate. Sometimes you will get really unlucky though, and you won't get either one. If that is the case, I would aim for a Power Stone and power a Brute. Again, Farron, Creeping Horror, or Power Stone. Now, the reason we are not going for upgrades for the units is because the upgrades will take too long and it'll be too expensive, and we wouldn't be able to all in at the first Stormgate as we just did. We're sacrificing upgrades and macro and more units for more units and production in order to overwhelm our opponent and have more units and to create a snowball effect with the first Stormgate.
That is uncomfortable.
Now, as you can see, we're going to be able to just end the game with this. Normally, that will happen. Not normally, but a lot of the times that will happen. This is a really snowball attack. Like, if you can get the Farron or the Creeping Horror at the first Stormgate and be producing and outproducing your opponent, that is the goal. So you will be able to push really, really hard right here, but you have to push right after you get that first Stormgate so you have the advantage. But if you aren't actually able to end the game in this situation,
That is uncomfortable.
there's a couple things that we can do. You still should have the upper hand because of the aggression that you are able to do in the early stages of the game. So you want to continue to be aggressive by checking for their third. Do not let them expand. You also want to take a third base of your own. Continue to get upgrades, tier 2, fourth base as the game progresses. And the early game snowball that you created should allow you to have the upper hand and be able to outplay your opponent. I hope this guide helps. Again, this is an aggressive playstyle and it's meant to win games quickly. If you want more macro-oriented guides, take a look at my channel. There'll be other playstyles posted. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Stormgate action.